Welcome everyone to our Data Bytes webinar. I will give everyone 1 more minute to join Zoom if there's still some last minute uploads going on. So we will start with the webinar in just a few seconds. All right. Welcome everyone to this Data Bytes webinar on Future Ready Teams, Strategic Competence and Talent Management. I am Rosina Preis, Competence and Knowledge Manager at EIT Manufacturing, and I am delighted to be your moderator for this session, in which we will delve into critical aspects of organizational success in today's rapidly evolving landscape. Together, we will dive into the intricacies of the topic with a presentation from our expert and are happy to open conversation to your questions. To do so, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. You can submit questions throughout the presentation and discussions, and our speaker will be able to elaborate on your points at a later point in the webinar. So please don't be shy. This is your opportunity to speak to our experts and ask any lingering questions that you might have. Our esteemed speaker today is none other than Professor Dr. Gerhard Graf, a leading authority in cultural change and human resources management. He has a wealth of expertise as a professor at the University of Applied Sciences, SDI in Munich, and as CEO of Transformation Management AG. Professor Graf brings invaluable insights into navigating complex change and transformational processes within organizations. We're also joined by his colleague Christoph Stögerer from Transformation Management AG and Vanessa Ratz from TU Wien Academy for Continuing Education, who will later on share an exciting learning opportunity with you. Today, we will explore the ever-present need for strategic competence and talent management as businesses contend with an array of external, internal shifts. Understanding how to harness and develop talent strategically is paramount for sustained success. But this webinar isn't just about what we have to say, it's also about your participation. So please, we do encourage you to engage actively, ask questions, share your insights, and together we can make this an enriching and interactive experience. So without further ado, let's dive into the world of future-ready teams, strategic competence, and talent management with Professor Dr. Gerhard Graf.
Hello, and a warm welcome also from my side. And Rosina, thank you very much for your introduction. It was very nice. Therefore, and if it's okay, I want to share my screen so that we can go through this presentation supported by different slides. I'll try to find the right. So, is it working? The presentation? Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I think I need nearly 20 minutes about to give you or hand over some insights of talent and succession management, especially of strategic competency management, which is going to be more and more important. And therefore, let's jump straight directly in this topic with some, from my point of view, exciting key figures of this topic. First of all, I want to show you a very interesting study. This study is done for from the Economic Intelligence Unit from the Great Britain, and they started a panel study, and periodically they asked the CEOs how significant and threat to do the following risks pose to your company's global business operation today, which means every, I think, half a year, they started to ask, is this risk more important? Is this risk growing, or is this risk reducing? And in the last time, more and more, this human capital risk is growing. It's more important. It's going to be more and more important for the future, for the critical to be successful in the future. And the second question in this study was, how effectively do you think your organization manages the following aspects of risk? And this is also very interesting. You see, the financial risk is well managed from their feeling. The human capital risk here is very important, but to be managed, this one is very critical. it's not in the proper way done at the moment in the companies. This is one aspect. The other aspect, because what's the background of human capital risk, which means, can we really be sure that we can cover critical positions in our company internally, which means it's not necessary to go outside and to find the right people on the market. We want to organize and to handle this risk so that we can cover all these critical positions. And this is important for the long-going future readiness of an organization. How can we manage this? And are we ready therefore? And obviously, it's not from the point of view of the CEOs, it's not done in a proper way. The other thing is to hold excellent people, potentials or talents in an organization means that these people find it very interesting to stay in the company and do not want to find a next challenge in another company. And therefore, I want to highlight the next survey from McKinsey company. They asked different people, they left the company, why they left the company. What's the reason in the main thing? Is it the salary? Is it the cultural point of view or something else? And the highlighted topic is their lack of career development and advancement. And this links directly to the survey I highlighted before. To hold people or to hold the people in the long run in the organization, to prepare them for these critical positions is one thing. And the other thing is to give them opportunities and outside of what's for the future of them, where are the possibilities and options to stay in the organizations? What happens for me in the future? And this is the most highlighted topic because they leave organizations. So based on these, let's go in depth. How does organizations manage these topics in concrete terms? This is something which seems interesting. How does organization organize it? We have on the one hand side, this point of view of the CEO. I have the feeling we do not manage these risks in a proper way. And the other side, a lot of people, potentials, are leaving organizations because they have no perspectives for the future. And therefore, I want to go more in depth based on our study. We started 2010 and to find out how does organizations organize their talent and succession management at the moment and how do they do their business therefore. And the study started with, we have 24 criteria of talent and succession management to hold the people on the organization, as well as to manage this risk of personnel or this human capital management, how to organize this. We have 24 criteria, as well as each criteria is divided in 4 different maturity levels, which means maturity level 1 tells us we do this, but it depends on the situation. Sometimes we do and sometimes we don't do this. Level 2 is more or less a standardization. We have standards of these topics in our organization, which are in place, but in generally they are not managed, which means to be managed is level 3, to say we have key figures and we know what's working, what's going on, and what fits and is helpful for us in the organization. And those things, they are not helpful, we will skip. Level 3 is we are measuring, we are managing these talent and succession management. And level 4 is concretely aligned with the strategy of the organization, what's important for the next time of our organization. How can we support and find the right people in our organization? They are ready for the future of organization. And therefore, based on these general, we started this survey, this study, based on my University of Applied Science, together with the University of Innsbruck, together with the Academy for Continuing Education in Vienna from the TU Vienna, and our organization. And the basis of the study was for, first of all, a short briefing. Then we had more or less approximately 2-hour interview for reflection about how does this organization organize and manage their talent and succession management. Then we made this evaluation and then a result presentation about how do you feel about these results. And based on these, at the moment, we have more than 400 companies in this study, and we can really say more in detail, how do they organize the talent and succession management? We started this study 2010, and it was interesting for us after 5-6 years, once again, to go in close contact with them and to renew this study about how was your objectives and your management of talent and succession management 5 years ago, and now what's going on today. So we started with this panel. Till 2016, we have more or less more than 100 organizations who joined our study once again. And now I want to go more in detail, what are the results, because here we can see what's important, what was important 5 years ago, now what's important today, and is there an ongoing increase of managing talent and succession management in the organizations. And honestly, based on these direct different levels, here you see on the left side, level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Level 1, once again, it's up to, we do sometimes some things, we do, sometimes we don't do. Level 2, standardization. Level 3, managing this process. And 4, strategically aligned. And in the first contact, in the first study part, more or less in the average, all companies were in level 2. Let's have the jump, what happens? In the second run, nothing. Also, they still remain in level 2, which means we have some standards, but honestly, we don't manage it in the proper way. We don't count. Does it make sense? Is it helpful or isn't it helpful? And this refers, in fact, to the feeling of the CEOs, it's not well managed. Referring to the fact that talent and succession management is one of the key risky points of an organization, it's astonishing, because it's important for the future, but honestly, we don't manage it. Or we only have some standardized topics and that's all. But nothing we are counting, we are really steering. And it's really interesting this result was very interesting for all of us. Now, when we go more in depth to this talent and succession management, here you see the overview of the entire study of all organizations. And it was really interesting. What's the difference between these top quartile to this bottom quartile? What's the difference? How do they manage it in a proper way, and how do they manage it in this way? Here you see also very few organizations, less than 10%, are managing their talent and succession management in the strategic level of maturity level 4. Also very interesting. So there is a lot of room for improvement, or a lot of things have to be done in these talent and succession management. And there is a big need in most of the companies. Let's refer what's the difference between quartile, the high level quartile, the upper quartile, and the lower quartile. Relation regarding to business success. And we find in our study, we can say companies of top quartile are much more successful in business than companies from the bottom quartile, nearly 40%. And this is a big number. It's a high level. It refers to a similar, not the same, obviously, but a similar result. Boston Consulting Group as well as McKinsey, they make a little bit different, but they came to the same amount of good managed organizations, referring to the talent management, are much more 30% more more successful than the others. And this refers to their result, and we can totally, in summary, in the long run, it makes sense to make a professional talent and succession management. The last one I want to highlight is this employer attractiveness, and we have the same based on the Kununu values we counted out. Top quartile is more than 50% more successful and has a higher rate of employer attractiveness than the bottom quartile. This is interesting. Let's summarize. First of all, talent and succession management is causing concerns for CEOs and CFOs, and these concerns are increasing. There is a big need. In general, this topic is worthwhile and supports companies in their development. And it's growing. It's going to be more and more important. The topic is stagnating in terms of professionalization at a low level. It's a big need. What is the case? Why does it happen that way? I'm convinced one thing is a lot of organizations are happy with standardized processes and doing something, but they are not managing it. And there is a big need and also a chance for people who know to manage it to get a good and interesting job. Here, 3 hypotheses from our point of view. One is operational day-to-day tasks overlay the significance. Urgency overrides importance. This is talent and succession management is not something which can you create results, short results in quartile areas of a few months. It takes time. Developing people, identification of the right people, and developing or supporting them in their personal development way, it takes time. And this is not directly linked to this speedy, fast business we are living in the moment in the world, and we are realizing. The other point is methods and tools are implemented without qualified discussion. Efficiency and effectiveness in the talent and succession management processes don't meet the need. A very interesting and challenging part is if you have a person in your company who knows how to manage it, it's very helpful. Only to implement processes and tools, it's not enough. And the third and most important thing is talent and succession management are primarily personal policy statement topics without genuine interest. Power play DNA in an organization, which means to make the decision who is, or to identify a person who has potential for the organization and to support these people to grow and to find the proper position and to the proper place in the organization, not very often fits to the DNA of who has the highest level of influence of an organization. And this could be a lack. What to do? This is the most important thing, and it's growing to be more and more important. And based on our study, we designed a kind of a landscape to give an orientation of talent and succession management. We call it Prisma methodology. And I want to give you an overview how this Prisma methodology is working. What are the highlighted topics of strategic talent and succession management? Therefore, I want to start with this. It's directly linked to the company strategy and business model. Because based on the company strategy and business model, you have to identify where are and which positions of our organizations are the strategic key positions. Talent and succession management is primarily focused on covering the risk of finding the right people who can follow and cover these key strategic key positions. To cover these strategic key positions is also closely linked to key positions. How is the strategic workforce planning? How many people do we need in the future? Based on our strategy, based on our structure, how old are our people? how many people will retire. And honestly, this is going to be more and more critical in our area, geographical area in Central Europe, because last 2021, we had the first year in Germany where more people retired than came or entered the market of employees. This was the first time, and it's growing. Based on these, focus on the essentials, we have to think about where are our key positions and how many people do we need this workforce planning. The next is how many people do we have for these to identify the right people for the next level of career to have these proper potentials. It's closely linked to strategic competency model. Which strategic competencies do we need or do we focus on, and how can we organize this identification process? Based on these, very important topic to create the proper dashboard to manage actively this talent and succession management. And when you start to identify the right people, you have the right people, you have to think about how can we support them in their personal development. This leads directly to this learning adventure and business excellence to create the right setting of learning architecture and so on. And then finally, obviously, the succession management. Who will follow different people if they leave the company? Who retire and who will follow and be the right person prepared to do this job, which is important for the organization. And following this methodology, it gives you an overview which parts are important for talent and succession management, and all parts are very important for the long-term success of an organization. All these topics are core topics to make an organization ready for the future based on human capital risk management. Talent and succession management is also a very important thing to create the positive energy of an organization. All organizations want, well, we want a lot of energy in our company. They should burn for our vision we have, for our purpose we have, and how to create these. Talent and succession management is an excellent lever to handle it if you make it in the right way. And to find the background and the basics as well as to be front end of managing these, we created together a good thing. I'm convinced this is an excellent certificate to join, to learn more about how the status, how to create a talent and succession and strategic competence management for the future. This will be an excellent opportunity for this international certificate of strategic competence and talent management, which is offered by the EIT Manufacturing as well as for the TU Academy for Continuing Education and from our company. And therefore, I'm open. Let's discuss about this topic and all things we should find out. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Graf. What a great insight into the field, not only for our participants, but also for me, as we as EITM are in the field of manufacturing. The technology constantly changes, and therefore the expectations for employees do as well. So I think it's highly critical for those companies to retain talent and offer opportunities for them to grow and learn, because it's simply an economic issue for all of them. I can see we have some questions, and I would like to start with them so our audience can hear from you directly. Please, for the participants, if you have any further questions, add them in the Q&A function below so we can still get to them within the hour. So one question we have is, how is talent and succession management accepted in the organizations?
This is a critical point of view. Generally, most people say it's important. I never heard from the executive board it's not important, never. So generally, it's on the flat, on the surface, it's accepted. But in fact, the question is, how does people really do people know what's necessary to be a talent in an organization? And I am a talent, or I'm not a talent. Is it clear? Is this a transparent process? And in the most companies, it's not transparent, because it's not so easy, because when my employees, I know this employee is a talent, the other employee is not a talent, it's frustrating, and how should I manage these? And so it's more or less, when most companies are happy when processes are in place, and that's it. And the rest is more or less very often a hide and seek name of the game, because are you a talent? No, I don't know, but I have to identify for my employees, I have to identify them, some of them, to be a talent, but I don't tell them, because then they have new expectations, and I want to avoid that they have some ideas we cannot cover or we cannot meet or something like that. So it's a hide and seek, and therefore generally in the surface, officially, it's accepted, because nobody will say it's not important, but in fact it's not so clear. It's level 2 in the maturity.
But do you see a change in the last few years? Because to me, it seems that this was not something that was a priority just a few years ago, at least in the German-speaking world. But in the last few years, it's become more prevalent, I think. Is that correct, or do you have another view in this?
Honestly, when we started the second loop of our study, after 5-6 years, I showed you before in one slide, my hope was, yes, there was an increasing way of it's growing, it's going to be more and more important. And honestly, it was frustrating, because nothing happens. Those organizations, they had at the first loop nothing. They started with a standardized process, and now they have a standardized process. A lot of organizations who were in a higher level had a change in the executive board, and then it declines, and it was not so important, and fall back. So in general, no, there is nothing. Honestly, it's hard, but I think for people who know how to manage it and to implement it, and they know how to handle it also from this power play in the organization, the right feeling, they have an excellent chance, because we need these people in our organizations. I'm convinced.
Yeah. I have a related question here. It says, you talked about the power play DNA in an organization. In my company, this, and I assume they mean talent management, would definitely not be a priority. How do I change this culture? Oof.
Oh, it's easy. Start changing the brain of a lot of people and their beliefs and their success they have. The only way to be successful in this topic is not, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint in general. And to start with those people, and I'm convinced, and I know there are a lot of people also in big companies, they want to change something. And you have to work with those people. And to make and create step-by-step success stories, and to make people who are the winners of the new system, because the winners of the new system will support this new system. And stop or avoid to convince people they don't want. Forget it, because a leading person who believes, I know the best, who is my next person who will follow me, will tell you all the time, it's not working what you say, I know it better. And he will act like you have no chance. But to find the right people and to create a community which lives in this new world, it spreads and creates a wave, a positive wave. And this is my point of view. I'm convinced then you have success. But it's a marathon, not a sprint.
What would be a strategy or approach in identifying a talent when it comes to blue-collar workers? Because they are usually more resilient to change.
Oh, why are they more resilient to change? What's the belief behind this statement? Nevertheless, the talent and succession management identification process, normally most people, 10 years ago, most organizations had one standardized process. And those organizations which had this standardized process, big companies, realized the last years it's an annoying process, because standardizing means it's going to be more, it's heavy, and once again we have to do the same process we did last year, and such a lot of things are not changing, and why should I discuss about the same topic we discussed last year? Why should we do? And a lot of organizations, they had this standardized process, realized it's annoying and doesn't create the positive energy we need in our company, referring to these topics. And they started to create different channels for identifying people. How can we, in different situations, because we don't need a person or we don't need an approach one fits all. We have different worlds, we have different realities. We have, on the one side, we have the sales topic, which is very, very tricky. R&D is completely different. Finance is different. Production is once again different. So to take one process which fits and covers all these needs of our organization is not working. So let's find different ways, different channels to identify the right people. This is the future. Mm-hmm. Is this the right answer, or is this understandable to this question?
Yeah, maybe if the participant who asked that question can comment in the chat. Maybe also from our perspective at EIT Manufacturing, maybe what this person meant is that we see a bit of resistance, for example, against robots, right? So it's the fear of the robot taking my job from me. Yeah. And from our perspective, yes, that is a very prevalent fear that we have to counteract by reframing the narrative and saying that the robot is not your foe, it's your friend. It's actually going to improve processes, but it is going to require some reskilling or upskilling in the process. But that is a very sensitive subject sometimes. That is true.
I think this is my experience. Thank you for this point of view, but it didn't follow these at the beginning. But I'm completely with you. But the most people don't have this resistance because of these robots. They have the resistance because they don't know how to handle with it. And if you give them opportunities and take them by the hands, look, this could be an opportunity, not only to say, no, it could be your friend, because only to say it's my friend, no, it's my enemy, because I will lose my job, my existing job. To take them by the hand and to show them opportunities, new opportunities. They are different from the old job, but this new opportunity could be interesting, and I will support you in learning these and your personal development. And I'm convinced personal development is a core part of human being. And this is not something, the only thing where I have the resistance is when I have no idea how to handle. I have no chance because I cannot understand. But if I have the chance for opportunities, I will catch these opportunities. And then you can be sure the resistance will be smaller and smaller and go back and not so in the front. Only to say, no, this robot is your friend, forget it. Why should it be my friend if he makes the same in a better way my job I did before? Okay.
And I think this also comes back, obviously, to leadership, right? We have a comment in the chat that says, to be talented in your company, you need a good leader. And the good leader is a catalyst, a good communicator, a connector, and a good coach. So that directly relates what you just said, I think.
One point to this. We have the leaders we have, full stop. Some are good ones, some are not so good. They are like they are. But to support leaders, to sensibilize them for these topics, and it's also a good chance, and it can help a leading person to be more relaxed in these topics. This is the challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. We have another question by Greta. She's saying, a super interesting presentation, thank you. Have you seen any correlation between the success of talent management and the use of digital technologies and AI in specific in HR talent management?
Yeah. At the moment, this is, I'm convinced in the next years, we will have a big switch in this area. This people analytics topic is a very, very important, helpful and worthful area to have a close look on it, because at the moment, the name of the game is a person is identifying a person who has a potential. Using the new opportunities of artificial intelligence or KI, it creates more points of view. It's if we make it in a proper way, which means data security and so on, but the way how to look at people and to find facets of a human being, which is not so obvious based on these, let's name it, analytical way of data and how do I manage or how do I act in an organization. From my point of view, I'm from a neutral point of view, it creates excellent opportunities. Not only to think about, oh, it's terrible because we don't know what happens and it is negative way. One thing is, it's coming. I'm convinced it's coming because it can be an additional, very interesting point of view of identifying people, because to find things of their personality, which is not so as a boss of a person, I have one point of view at this person, and this is only my one. And does this person smell my nose? Very often, it's the point. And no, it's annoying because he has a lot of, or she has a lot of questions, and it's not so easy to handle. Oh, it's not a potential. Perhaps exactly this person in an organization needs. But I'm convinced this will come, especially in human resources management.
Maybe related to this, we have this question. What is the starting point to implement strategic talent management? Where do I start? How do I communicate to upper management that this is important? Again, what is the strategy?
Without the backing from the executive board, it's a hard job. But our experience based on this PRISM methodology, you should start talent and succession management in this area where you have the feeling there is the positive energy in the organization. And if you have an overall overview, what is important and in which area do we want to go, if you have this within your HR community and aligned perhaps with the CEO or CHRO or with the executive team, start with this area where you have the need in your organization, because there you have the energy, and then support the leaders to be successful in this topic. Then you create the positive wave you need for handling talent and succession management in the long run, to create a well-accepted talent and succession management system in the organization.
Okay. We have another interesting view in the chat. When we talk to small companies about this topic, we usually get the same answers. Talent management is important, but I know my employees and I realize what we need. He can also come to the boss with suggestions for the training. My question is, from what company size or product, like expert organization, manufacturing, does talent management make sense? Is this a task of the CEO or department management? Or does HR feel responsible for it? Or is it just a nuisance and expensive?
This is a tricky question. Normally, a systematic of talent and succession management, which should cover an entire organization, starts from 800 to 1,000 employees. But nevertheless, also small companies need a standard or a focused talent and succession management, but not with a systematic big organizations need. Normally, people or board members of a company of 300, 400, 500 employees, normally they should know important people, but they must be careful. Only there is their point of view. How can we organize talent and succession management so that it fits to our organization and our size? That's the point. Generally, I can say based our study is more or less focused on 1,000 employees and more. But generally, also small companies need talent management. Why? Because to identify potentials, it's not so easy. Normally, I'm working with people and I see, this is a good guy, this is not so good, and so on. But what's my criteria? It's not something which is, I know these criteria. This is something of my feeling. This is a simple person who, let's name it, I smell and it fits to me. This person looks like my uncle and I don't like my uncle, and so I don't believe this person. This is something which happens in our human being. So to be aware, what are the criteria and how can we look at our employees and to identify the right thing? It's not a question of size. It's important. The quality is the standardization or the systematic behind this. And with a big company, it's more tricky than in a small company. Small companies, it's tricky because they think we know our people. And to know why we know our people and how do we filter to look at our people and say, yes, this is a good one or this is not so a good one. What's the criteria? And to be aware of these criteria. This is a tricky thing. And how to organize their development.
Yeah. Wouldn't it, it's a question for me, wouldn't it make sense to implement this very early on? So for example, for a startup that has 3 or 4 employees, wouldn't it be good to have a strategy of where the company would go? I mean, from our perspective at EITM, it would be great if those startups that we work with had an idea of where to go and what kind of talent they have to manage in the future to scale up.
Yeah, completely with you.
So it's just a different level, correct? It's just a different level of strategy.
And to find the right thing for the organization. It's not standardizing, forget it. It does not make sense. But it's important. That's the point.
Yeah. I have another question. Who is usually in charge of strategic talent management in an organization? Is that HR? Is that management? Is it one person?
Generally, talent management is a close collaboration between HR and leaders of the organization, as well as of the employees. So for steering the process, driving the process, the responsibility normally is HR. To identify the right people, to support the people, to drive them, to learn and to develop them is part of leadership. And to be ready to do something for my personal development, this is my responsibility. As an employee, to sit down and say, I want to do something, please develop me, it's not working. So I am responsible for my personal development and no one else. HR can support me to give me ideas, hints, and something like this for my personal development, but my development normally happens between my ears. Leaders are responsible for identification and supporting them in their development, people, because this is part of a good leadership job you have to do. And HR has the overview. No leader knows which other important jobs in our company. I don't know. I know where in my area of influence, what are the options, but not in another country or something like that. This overview HR normally has to have. And if HR does not have this overview, let's start to organize so that HR has this overview. Otherwise, it's not working. And when I am supporting one excellent potential in my area, I want also an excellent internally if this person is leaving this job, a new one, and not fighting to find the right person later on. Then I will be, as a leader who supports people to grow, then I will be the loser because then I have lost an excellent person. The other way, I don't get another one. And this is a job of HR, to be sure that we have enough talents in our screen dashboard or something like that. Not a pool. Talent pool is not working in the long run. This is something we know.
So if we have a company where there is a person, for example, who sits in learning and development, and they are passionate about this and they think that this makes sense for their company, are there sources and studies? Maybe Christoph can also support us in that answer. I don't know. Is there something that I could present to management to underline the importance of this? Is there something I could go to them and be like, this is the sustainable way. This will bring us money in the long term. So this is good for everyone in terms if we have this company that doesn't have that culture yet?
Yeah. This only 3 studies I presented today. Normally they help. Talent and succession management is risk management. And this is something, it's a top level task to manage risks of the organization.
Yeah, it's predictive maintenance of employees, basically. Yes, wonderful. One more thing, one more question maybe. Is there something that you see, the top percentile companies, that makes them special? And what are they doing differently?
Oh, I didn't get these questions.
I think they're referring to the, you presented the companies, the top quarter who are scoring high and the question is what makes them special? What makes them so good at talent management? What is the difference to those who score quite low?
One core topic, it's really close linked for what's important for our future based on our strategy, the next 3 to 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and how do we organize it that we focus on people who have the potential inside or in them to drive our company forward. Not only, yes, the general things you see in every company. No, let's identify the right people, and then how can we support them in their personal development? And normally they don't organize a program, an external program with a university or something like that. They are trying to make a mix of personal development primarily within the company, as well as some ideas, hints from outside. So it's close to the business. They try to tracking is not the right wording, but honestly, at the moment, I don't find the proper word. But they are tracking their ongoing process of development. They are supporting them. These companies have standardized more or less a culture of reflection loops in different areas, personnel, as a team, as an organization, to be open and discuss about what are the signals outside of the company and how do we organize it so that these signals come in, and let's discuss about it, about the consequences, and how can we focus on especially on our potentials so that they have an impact in our organization. They are not only these are the potentials and they have to be passing this program and this program. No, they should have a big impact in our company, and then they grow as well as our organization. This is a close link.
Thank you so much. I'm afraid we need to start concluding this Q&A section at this point. But to our participants, if you have any other questions regarding strategic competence and talent management, please feel free to reach out to us and contact us directly if you would like to continue this kind of conversation. Also note that we will be sending out a recording of this webinar to all participants in a few days' time. Before we come to a close, I would like to invite my colleague Vanessa Ratz from TU Wien Academy for Continuing Education to share some insights into an exciting learning opportunity that is directly related to this theme of our webinar. Vanessa, can you give us more facts about this certificate course?
Yes, thank you very much, Rosina. Hello from my side, from TU Wien. I'm very excited to be here today and to listen to Gerhard Graf's very great expert insight on the topic that we are offering as a cooperation partner, TU Wien Academy, for the Compact program that will start in the upcoming summer term. I have a really short presentation. It's just 3 slides where you see all the relevant information in regards to the Compact program that we are offering, strategic competence and talent management. As you have seen before on the slides of Professor Graf, the upcoming program start is on March 18th. So in 1 month only, you can start your deep dive in the very interesting topic of strategic competence and talent management with us. It's basically online sessions throughout the summer term 2024. We are offering, it's mostly weekdays starting at 3 p.m. So it's a great opportunity after finalizing your daily business at work to log in into the MS Teams meeting room and start your insights and discussions with the expert from transformation management. The sessions between March and June will all, as I mentioned before, will be held online via MS Teams. There's also the opportunity by the end of the semester to come to TU Wien on site for the examination and the closing party, of course. So you will meet in person not only our lecturers, but also the other participants and have an opportunity, sorry, for networking as well. But by the end of the summer term, the Compact program, it will be completed with certification, an academically certified academical certification with 8 ACTS points that you will receive when you complete the course. And as you see here on the slide as well, there's the participation fee. It's really all in all for the whole course, for the literature that you get, for all the other insights that you get throughout the program. And it's really a good way to not only have a great exchange of experience and really like nearly daily, or let's say at least weekly contact with other people who are inspiring and really keen on getting the topic of talent management and strategic competence management going in their companies and in their daily work basis. So the number of participants in the group that we are offering is also a little lower, but that really has the sense that you have enough time to get a great deal of exchange with each other, to get a great deal of discussions with the lecturers, and to prepare your own like roadmap for the most valuable way of impact talent management and strategic competence management in your company's way of being. So I want to point out the application deadline that will be next week, February 29. It's important that you, if you're interested in participating in the Compact program, that you register online via the TU Wien website. But of course, there's also the opportunity to get in touch with me directly via email or also via phone or social media these days, of course, as well. And if you need further assistance for the registration process, if you have questions regarding the content, and yeah, if you need support in general, I am, of course, in assistance. If you want to book a personal consultation with myself, I'm happy to join and help you throughout the process of registration and starting the program with us.
Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Are there any questions, maybe, sorry, in the group?
Yes. If there are any questions about this, please, you can also post that in the Q&A function or chat. We also put a link into the chat to our page, but don't be confused. It is the same program. You could either contact us or contact Vanessa via her channels to learn more about this program. Gerhard, I think you've just done this program with TU Wien already but in German. This one will be in English. Can you just quickly summarize what this entails?
What is?
what this, could you quickly summarize what this course entails,
The
and
topic.
also what
Ah.
what is included? And also we have a question in the Q&A function. Would you recommend the course also for PhD students?
Yeah, I can see clearly, yes. Because
Yes.
it's a mixture. Should I give you a brief overview of the topics are following this methodology, which is directly to these, how to identify these strategic key positions, how to, can I share my screen? I think this could be helpful.
Yes, you can.
It goes through all these.
Maybe while you share your screen, in regards to the question about if this would be good for PhD students, yes,
Yeah.
it is exactly. From what I understand, it's not something that you would start with if you're 18 coming out of school. This is really something that you need to be involved in a company. I think it's also very valuable to exchange, to network with others in the certificate program, to learn more about their processes, what they're doing. And learn from you directly.
The core part of this certificate is, one part is the insights from our side, these impulses, but you work all the time from March the 18th till the end on your talent and succession management if you are working in your company, and to improve it. The starting point will be the study, this reflection interview, to find out in which level, maturity level of talent and succession management, what's in place in your company. And the objective of your working paper will be how to make to make a master plan to bring your talent and succession management on the next level, and how to create this roadmap. We will support you. It's a mixture of these impulses. Will be module 1, strategic outlining talent and succession management, module 2, succession criteria, competencies of the future, and so on. It's following this model. And in between these modules, you will work on your roadmap, and it will be supported by your colleagues as well as by us as we are coaching you. So at the end, you will present this roadmap. This will be your final exam, and you will be prepared that you can present this roadmap also to your executive board, for instance. So it's a double finding. On the one side, you learn a lot based on these, let's name it, university point of view certificate, as well as, but not, it's an artificial one. No, you have to do it, and so that you can implement this roadmap or these ideas you have to move your talent and succession management within your company further on. So you see, it's closely linked to people who are working in companies, but it's not necessary that you have to be a member of your HR department. It's not necessary. It's also helpful for people, they are in charge in a specific job they have in an organization. It's also very helpful because it creates something to get a better feeling of talent and succession management. It's going to be more and more important for leaders in the future. So your rucksack will be well prepared after this one, based on these topics, obviously.
Wonderful. Greta asked if we could share an overview of the modules of the course. Yes, we have to. I'm so sorry, we have to close very soon this webinar. But Greta, please feel free to share, to reach out to Vanessa. She can give you more information, guide you on this. This is, you're not committing yet to do anything, but you will get more of an idea of what this course entails. And thank you, Gerhard, for explaining. So this means I'm not just learning the basics, I'm not just learning the methodology, I'm directly applying this to my company if I have one, or a fictional company that I could make up. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you to both. This is a certificate program I cannot wait to be a part of. It sounds so interesting to me. I could speak 5 more hours about this. For our participants, please don't be shy and approach us with your questions if you want to learn more about this topic in general, or if you're interested in attending the course that Vanessa presented to us. And as we draw our webinar to a close, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our incredible speaker, Professor Dr. Gerhard Graf, for sharing his invaluable expertise with us today. Your insights into strategic competence and talent management have been enlightening. And as I said, I could talk a lot of more hours about this, because I think this is something that at some point will be important to each one of us, so no matter where we work. So as we said, from startup to SME to the big company, this is something that everybody needs. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us today. Wishing you all continued success and growth in your endeavors. So until next time, take care and stay future ready. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.